Let's start with the FireNet, the firewall network. So far we have discussed a lot of things about the public cloud and the cloud networking, right? And then we talked about the importance of MCNA. We talked about transit. These are important topics for the exam as well. So I'm just giving you some hints here, okay? Then we talked about the high performance encryption, ingress security, egress security, all those features that Tomas was explaining to you. Now, this firewall network and why actually we came up with this solution to solve the problem in this space. So what happens that as soon as you start onboarding any meaningful workload in the cloud, any production workload or anything that is touching the production data, you hit by this requirement from your InfoSec or from your compliance team that, hey, dude, this is important data. Could be HIPAA, medical data, or PCI data. You need to make sure that you are inspecting the traffic going into this workload or leaving from this workload. And it has to be inspected at layer 7 level, right? So you should use something like next generation firewall to inspect that data deeply. Those constructs that we discussed, like the layer 4 security groups, stateful firewall, those are not enough. Yeah, those are important, but not enough to comply or to pass the audit, right? So there is a need to inspect this traffic. Okay, so we all know that. Now this traffic could be east-west or could be north-south. Now it's important to understand the definition of east-west because in the on-prem, the east-west was within your data center, and north-south was anything that was going out, right? Here, the east-west is VPC to VPC traffic and VPC to on-prem because on-prem is still part of your data center if you're still running the on-prem data center, right? So that's east-west. And north-south is anything that is going towards the internet or coming from the internet. So you need to make sure you're protecting all these traffic and traffic flows. So the solution that we have allows you to apply this firewall in any scenario that you can imagine, right? So the diagram that you see here is a diagram where I have a VPC in AWS, some GCP, and then some Azure workload, right? So the solution allows you to inspect the traffic if it is happening or going between VPCs inside a cloud, right? Okay, let me annotate so that you guys can follow me. Okay. And if your traffic is going towards the internet, obviously it has to be inspected by the firewall. If you have traffic coming in from the data center, it needs inspection, then it has to go through this firewall network. Any branch that you are connecting to the cloud, any partner site, it has to be inspected. And if you are sending the traffic towards another cloud, the requirement remains the same, right? Because at the end of the day, that's an important data. Now, the Aviatrix controller and this platform that we have allows you to achieve all these requirements using just single FireNet solution that we have. And I'll tell you in coming slide how we have designed this and the problems that we are solving for a lot of customers. So when you look at the existing problems in the cloud, and if you start to inspect this data, you notice that the solutions that are out there are not complete. They have their inherent limitations and their challenges. Some of them are actually coming from the firewall vendors because these firewall vendors, they have uplifted their hardware appliances into the cloud. And they give you this firewall and they say, you know what, you need to figure out everything else. Obviously, you need to figure out how to route the traffic towards this firewall, how to receive the traffic back from the firewall, send it to the destination. And also in the process, you need to make sure there is no asymmetric routing happening, right? Because if it happens, then the firewall will have no knowledge about the flow and it will drop the packet, right? So there is a lack of understanding of cloud native networking that is, these firewall vendors that they don't actually provide you. So their job is to just to provide you this firewall. And in some cases, I have also seen that because of those limitations in the firewall in the cloud, customers end up hairpinning the traffic towards the physical firewall on-prem. That's not the right solution, because you're wasting the bandwidth, you're wasting the licenses on your firewall also, right? So that's not a good solution. These cloud providers, in majority of the cases, they don't have their layer 7 firewall, and if they do, those are not at a feature set which you would need for your enterprise. Okay, so you're basically stuck, like, okay, what should I do here, right? And then you have to figure out all the routing yourself, and you have to manage it also, right? So yeah, you deploy a firewall once, but that's not a one-time deal. You have VPCs coming in, you have more workload coming in, you might have a branch coming up in a month or so, right? So then you have to figure out the routing again. So it's a painful job, right? So customers are, they are deploying their scripts, they are using some Lambda script or something to make sure all these use cases are covered and they are actually in compliance.